On this week's episode of COS Now, the movement for an Article 5 convention is gaining momentum across the country. Wyoming's House vote on COS sparked major debate, Ohio officially introduced the resolution, and a total of 20 states have brought forward the legislation this year. All that and more on COS Now.
What do we want? When do we want it? Now!
Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to another episode of COS Now. I'm your host, Rachel Martin, and this is the show where we break down all the latest news in the Convention of States movement. Last week, COS Wyoming State Director Julie Baker joined a special edition of COS Live to share the dramatic story behind the vote on our Article 5 application. Here's Wyoming State Representative Mike Schmid from the debate of the Wyoming House.
I heard today that our founders were a heck of a lot smarter than we were. I agree with that. In fact, they were so smart, they gave us this tool. They gave us this option. They were so smart that they knew these days we're experiencing living in today would come. Now, we have to be smart enough to use the tool they gave us.
And in case you missed it, COS Action's resolution was introduced in the Ohio legislature by Senator Michelle Reynolds.
A convention of states will address three critical issues. Number 1, imposing fiscal restraints on the federal government. Number 2, limiting the power and jurisdiction of the federal government. And 3, establishing term limits for federal officials and members of Congress. If passed, Ohio would join 19 other states that have already approved this resolution, including Florida, Georgia, Alaska, Alabama, Tennessee, Indiana, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arizona, North Dakota, Texas, Missouri, Arkansas, Utah, Mississippi, Wisconsin, Nebraska, West Virginia, and South Carolina.
The resolution now awaits a committee hearing. This brings the total number of states that have introduced COS Action's Article 5 application in 2025 to 20, not counting the 19 that have already passed the resolution. Learn more at conventionofstates.com/progress. On this month's episode of COS at Home, a Texas state representative joined the program to share why he's pushing for Texas to renew its leadership in the Article 5 movement.
As I was at the state Republican convention in 2022, and I heard about this issue that the application for an Article 5 convention to rein in the federal government that Texas had called in 2017 was going to expire. And so I just walked up there, never met him before at any point in time. I just said, "My name's Cody Wasuda, I'm a state representative, I'll follow your bill." Congress is never going to rein itself in. We're kidding ourselves if we think Congress is ever going to do that. But the founding fathers gave us this option, and I think it's a great option, and I think it's always a good option and should not be subject to a sunset.
Catch that full interview at conventionofstates.com/at-home. And that brings us to the final 5 highlights. COS President Mark Meckler took to the airwaves with podcaster Heidi Harris. Here's what that sounded like.
Now, we see the Trump administration, they say they're going to do away with the Department of Education. Let's say they do away with it. The next time there's a Democrat administration, and let's not be naive, that will happen at some point, they will bring back the Department of Education. It'll be 10 times bigger than it was originally.
That's the problem. A convention of states could get together and put an amendment to the Constitution in that would prevent this, that would allow government to be on a permanent basis smaller and some of these agencies eradicated.
Meanwhile, constitutional professor Mike Donnelly and COS endorser Jenna Ellis recently discussed the need for an Article 5 convention on her show, Jenna Ellis in the Morning.
President Trump can do a lot, which is great. He's doing a lot of good things, in my opinion. Congress has done a lot of bad things over a really long period of time. And, the founders gave us Article 5 in the Constitution as a way for the states or the people to impose more limits on the federal government, both on the judicial branch, on the executive, as well as on the Congress, and fiscally, under the Convention of States project. So my hat is off to those who are trying to do that. But my encouragement to people who are listening here to us today is do something, get involved. Talk to your local legislator.
The North Carolina team shared how the Liberty Llama is helping them reach more people with the message of Convention of States. COS continues to grab headlines in local publications, including in Kansas, Wyoming, and more. Finally, check out these snapshots from recent COS events, including in Kentucky, Indiana, New Jersey, Georgia, and Illinois. Before you guys go, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so that you're always notified when we have a new upload. Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll see you same time next week here on COS Now.